Hello and welcome to brick tip number 39. When I did the mock masterpieces videos of Anto chair and AC pins designs, I noticed the great use of curves and cylinders in those builds. So I wanted to go over how they achieve those and how you can add those kind of organic shapes into your own builds. So here's a selection of parts that all can be used for making different widths and styles of curves. We have our brick with stud on the sides, which is what AC Pin used so effectively. We've of course got clips, and this is just a small variety of all the clips and bars that you can use. We got tiles, hinges of course. We can even use bricks and cylinders and plates, and then finally all of our different types of curved bricks. So we're going to clear these out of the way and then we can get started. So we're going to start with the bricks with stud on the side that AC Pin used. So if we remove these tiles, you can see here we have the scaffolding in here. And as usual, we've kept to our 2 brick and 1 plate spacing in between those bricks. To make sure that it's nice and rounded out here, what you're going to want to do is come out 2 plate widths, and then as you stack your tiles around there, they're going to give the suggestion of a really nice curve. So this is one way to do cylinders. So this is how AC Pin did his eggs, was that he took those 2 bricks and twisted them at 45 degrees to each other, and he brought out the curved bricks to the sides, and you'll notice that it's not quite lined up here, but even with that it was really effective in his build, and it made that perfect oblong egg shape. So in Anto chair's Corinthian columns, I think the way he did that was by using this sort of technique, which is the octagonal plate with the bars on the outside in a ring, and then he clipped on a series of plates and tiles and clips of course to create this Corinthian column effect. So I'm going to show you the inside of this, if I can get it open. This is a really strong, a really strong connection. So when he did those great big columns, of course they would connect really well and he wouldn't have to worry about them falling down or breaking apart on him. So here's the inside. So what you're doing here is you're staggering 2 different types of elements. This element has a plate on the bottom and then 2 clips on the side and then a filler plate in the middle with the tile on top to lock that in. And then this one is without that plate on the bottom. And the reason we do that is when they line up like this, you need space for that plate to sit there, and it's actually going to be a rest for this element to kind of sit there, and they won't get pushed in and pushed out of shape. So here's a really easy way to get a curve, is just take a series of plates and not connect them fully on the last stud, and you will get a curve out of it, although this is not particularly strong, and I would use this sparingly, but it could be used to great effect, especially if you want a fan shape for, say, an entryway or a fancy decorative element over a door. This technique here is used a lot in medieval towers and castle builds, where you have your 1x2 bricks staggered, and then you have your 1x1 cylinders, so that when you twist this all around, you get a very nice curve shape. And this construction allows you to create a lot of different radiuses of curves. It doesn't have to be really tight. That's about as tight as that one will go, but of course you can make it as big as you want. So this technique is used a lot in mocks. I've seen it many times. Now, the one thing I noticed with this is when I look at it, I'm not really fond of seeing those cylinders, and I don't really want to know what the construction is. I just want to be fooled. So I was thinking, if you took a brick with stud on the side and attached a plate to that, and you ran those down, and then you did the same thing maybe over here, where you pull this out, and then you put that back together, if I can remember how. There we go. Alright. I should mention that this technique is not particularly strong either. It's relying on basically just one stud to hold it all together, or one stud per level. So if you do that and then you take another plate there, here, and you put that sort of like so, then you can hide all those seams, more or less. You'll still have a gap there. And this is a technique I really like. I said it a few times about Lego likes odd number shapes. And this is a very good example of where if you tried to do this as a hexagon, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't create that perfect circle. But you do it as a pentagon and you get a perfect circle out of that. And I'll show you an example in a minute where you can scale this up to the bigger curves and it will still work. So let's take one of these elements apart and you can see how it's constructed. So what we have are our two 1x4 curved bricks. Then we take a 2x clip and bar, and then we have our brick there, and then finally just a plate to hold that all together. And if you click those in series, voila. So what you can do here is really neat, is you can take a droid arm and slip it in and clip it in the middle. So if you want to do, say, a space station or something like that where you needed to clip things on, you could have clips running all the way around. Of course, if you're going to add greebling and stuff like that, that would be another great method for that. I scaled this up a little bit because what I wanted to show you is that you can actually hide this gap if you take a modified plate here with the clip on it and you put your plate facing inward and lock that in place. This is the same construction as the other curve, but then you put these on and lo and behold, you have filled that gap. And that also makes a really nice detail, so that's an interesting option for you if you wanted to try that. And if you wanted to stack all these together and make like a great big column, that's easily enough done if you just overlap some plates and some tiles here. That would give you enough strength to go as high as you want. So I mentioned that you can scale that same design up. So here are the 1x3 curves. Again, in a pentagon, they work perfectly in a circle. And this is the same construction except an extra stud on either side. So those are 2x4 plates with a 2x2 spacer in the middle. I'm going to show you how to use plates now to create a curve. So these are some 1x3s with those studs in the middle. It's the same concept as the bricks and the cylinders, where instead of having a square plate there, you have the circular pip, which allows you to kind of squeeze the plates together. So there's another option for you for making a curve. Of course, this will make a big curve. As you make bigger and bigger plates, you get a wider and wider curve out of it. The same thing would happen with the bricks and cylinders. And then finally, with playing around with this stuff and adding some hinges, I created this, which is our inverted curve into a triangle shape, which gives a really neat effect. And I can see if this was actually built out into like a starship design or something like that, that would be fantastic. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this useful, please click the like button and subscribe and share it around so that others can enjoy it. We have a Patreon account if you wish to support us that way. And don't forget about our Play Well Bricks 1000 contest, which you can find the details in the discussion. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming in bricks. Bye bye.